Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Ninja Knight. Make sure you like the video, make sure you share the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you. So it seems that everyone's favourite Hollywood actor at the moment, Keanu Reeves, that just comes across as an absolutely lovable guy and a really decent human being, is being targeted by Marvel to play one of their characters. Now, this is just a rumour, so I want you to take it with a massive grain of salt, but it seems like Marvel Studios have contacted the actor and have asked him to play one of two characters. Now, it remains to be seen which character I suppose Keanu Reeves decides to choose, if he indeed does decide to choose them. He has been a long advocate for himself to be Wolverine. He's even said it recently that he would love to be Wolverine in the MCU. The characters that are allegedly on the table though for Keanu are as follows. So this is a picture from him as John Wick. One of the characters is Moon Knight. Now Moon Knight is a character whose real name is Mark Spector. He's a former boxer, CIA agent and a mercenary. He found himself near death after being betrayed by his employer, Raoul Bushman, when they stumbled across an archaeological dig. So Bushman decided that he wanted to intend to loot it for profit, and Spectre lay dying. He was betrayed by him, and he was nearly dead on the ground. The Egyptian moon god Khonshu offered him a second chance at life in exchange for becoming his avatar on Earth. Spectre then was resurrected and he was given superhuman abilities. Now this also drives into a big point of contention with Moon Knight in that he creates multiple personalities for himself and multiple identities. One of his multiple identities, as well as being Mark Spector, is Stephen Grant, who is a millionaire, and he has another one that's a taxi cab driver called Jake Lockley. So he remains in contact down with the street and criminal elements. So this character is a character that has been long attributed to and sort of looked at as being a kind of imitation of the Batman character from DC Comics. Now, when you look at the character here, it's actually no surprise that this sort of comparison has been drawn between these two characters. Spectre acts as a kind of street level individual to gather information, which is something that Bruce Wayne does on occasion, and he's a millionaire. So obviously that is something that Bruce Wayne also is. He also has these kind of moonerangs, so kind of like a batarang, and he has these pouches, as you can see. So it's quite a similar idea. Now, with this kind of thing in mind, I'll be surprised given the whole fact that Hollywood seem to think now that Egyptians look like Aldous Hodge, who's been cast as Hawkman inexplicably in DC's universe, but nevertheless will remain on topic with this one. Moon Knight is a character that people want to see on screen. I think he's a character that a lot of people think could have a very big future within Marvel, and he could be someone that they could drive forward. Now, at the moment, it seems like Moon Knight has been given the green light to become a Disney Plus TV series. On Disney Plus, and particularly within the Marvel Universe, I don't know how that's going to work, because it seems like they do not want to go R-rated, which I think this character probably needs to do. And certainly it needs to be above an age level, I think, of over 16s at the very least. And this is a problem, I think, in mind with Keanu Reeves, that he's become so good as John Wick and having this high level action octane and the ability to do what he does in those movies, that he now is so good in those movies that if you've seen anything less than that, you'd kind of say, oh, come on, like, we want to see him go absolutely ham. So I think Moon Knight is something that's on the table. I would be surprised though if Keanu was introduced though as Moon Knight, because I think that this could be a number of years that he could be Moon Knight, particularly if it's a TV show and if it works well. Now, do I think he has it in him? Absolutely. But I think there's a second character that he's after been linked to that I think would actually work a lot better for Keanu, and that's Johnny Blaze, aka Ghost Rider. Now, this is a character that has been previously played by Nicolas Cage in his own two movies. The first movie I really enjoyed, I have to say, and the second movie then wasn't really as good, but I liked the way things looked and I liked the aggressiveness of it. Ghost Rider is a character though that also features some sort of powers as well that could become a problem, I suppose, within the Marvel universe, and I think that they could heavily alter it. Mephisto is basically the big bad guy down below, if you know what I'm saying, and this is a character that grants Johnny Blaze, aka Ghost Rider, his powers. Now, what I think that Marvel could do is they've set up this character within the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Whether they wanted to make that stuff canon, I think it's very possible that they could have Blaize return and kind of not really mention how the powers were granted. I think if you were to bring Keanu Reeves in as Ghost Rider, and particularly the Johnny Blaze character, he could do it for a finite amount of time, and he could hand that baton on then to Danny Ketch, who could also hand that baton on then to Robbie Reyes. Now, Robbie Reyes has appeared in the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, but I do think personally that it will get to a time where they will want to hand over to a very different individual if this is going to go into a movie or if they're going to focus solely on Disney+. Personally, I think that Ghost Rider is the better choice. Keanu is a big fan of motorcycles. He has his own motorcycles, and I think he would be a shoe-in for this character. I think that he could do really, really well as Johnny Blaze, a former stuntman who makes a deal with Mephisto and becomes the Ghost Rider. I think he could certainly bring a new level of coolness, and I think he could bring in people to see these movies, which is ultimately what Marvel need now. When you're looking at the Marvel slate of Phase 4, I personally think it's in dire straits and it's in big trouble. And I think that if you brought in an individual that's as high profile as Keanu Reeves and as likeable as Keanu Reeves, I think you could have a sure winner on your hands. And I think that's maybe the way Marvel are looking. I would have loved to see Keanu within DC Comics, but it looks like it's ever more likely that he's more of a Marvel fan, and I think Marvel would probably offer the bigger paycheck at the moment to have Keanu on the books. They've just lost Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. Personally, I don't think that's going to be for too long. I think both of them will come to their senses and they will make a deal, given the fact that the MCU has taken a very unfortunate hit in the untimely passing of Chadwick Boseman. They have lost Steve Rogers as well too, who they've aged up and aged out of the movies. So that's two of your biggest Avengers gone, and respectively 3 with Chadwick Boseman unfortunately having passed away. So Marvel, I would imagine, are at a moment in time where they need someone that's bankable. They need someone that's going to portray a character, and a top tier character at that. We're also hearing rumours of Marvel basically flirting with Tom Cruise to become a version of Iron Man, so a multiverse version of Iron Man. So this could factor into this whole WandaVision season that they're going to do on Disney+. It also could factor into the Doctor Strange, into the multiverse type movie that they're going to be doing with him. So Ghost Rider is a name that's popped up continually, and I think he would fit in very well with the Doctor Strange movie. I think that allows itself for this magic and this type of, I suppose, demonic sort of behaviour from Ghost Rider to appear in the movie. I think the first movie of Doctor Strange was done very well, but we also know that there's problems on the set of Doctor Strange 2, with the director having been relieved of his duties and Sam Raimi having been brought in. Now, Sam Raimi is an individual that's very well known for his horror elements, so it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if we did see Ghost Rider pop up at some stage during that movie. And personally, I think who better to play him than Keanu Reeves. I know a big fan movement was behind Norman Reedus for a very long time, but I think right now, I think Marvel needs somebody to be a fairly well-known character, an established character, and they need a very well-known and liked actor. The John Wick movies sell very, very well. They're very simple premises, they're very simple stories, but ultimately they sell well because the star is very well liked by everybody. He doesn't make contentious, stupid comments. He is seemingly a very decent, lovely guy himself, and he seems very compassionate to everybody that's around him. And that's exactly what fans want to see. They want to see somebody that entertains, they do their job, they promote the brand, they promote the character, and they enjoy what they're doing. I think that he could make an excellent Blaze, and like I said, I think if he's an older version of Blaze, give him a couple of movies, a couple of seasons maybe of a TV show, and then he's able to hand the baton on, then pass the powers on then to somebody who's younger that could play Danny Ketch, or maybe swing it back down to Robbie Reyes, whichever way they decided to do it. That's the rumour for today, and like I said, take that rumour with a big grain of salt. I think that Keanu would make a great version of Moon Knight, and he would make a great version of Ghost Rider, but I do think that Moon Knight at the moment is probably a difficult one for Marvel to figure out. I will also say though, they are going to include Blade in Phase 4. So that means that Marvel probably are opening doors to some of these characters that do have a bit of a darker side to them. They do have a bit of a darker story to them. And I personally hope that they don't nerf Blade, because I think Mahershala Ali is a terrific actor. I think he's a top tier actor, and I very much hope that they do not nerf Blade. I'm a massive fan of Wesley Snipes' Blade, and to me, as much of a great actor as Mahershala Ali is, I think he needs the script and he needs the ability to go very, very dark with that character, because that is a character that I think could be an absolute star for Marvel. He was a star back in the 90s. He's one of the original characters that was put to screen as a comic book character. Phenomenally well received. Snipes was brilliant, and I think that's a high bar that Mahershala has actually set for himself, and I really respect that from him, to set himself a bar so high as Blade. I mean, Blade is iconic. So I think Marvel could move into that way of maybe bringing these characters in. It'd be interesting to see how much they soften it, because in my opinion a lot of the Marvel movies have been a little bit diluted. For example, Tony Stark and his alcoholism has been totally ousted within the MCU. Bruce Banner and his thoughts of self-harm and self-deletion has been totally ousted in these movies. And that just kind of dilutes the characters for me, and it stops them really having a struggle that a lot of people can empathise with and feel. And that's why I think maybe they're going for an older version, if they are, the rumours are to be believed, an older version of Blaze, that they can maybe bypass that origin story that is a very tough pill to swallow and a very, I suppose, heartbreaking arc. Why do I also say this? Well, we've seen Spider-Man recently. They have no mention of Uncle Ben. So what is the drive for Peter as Spider-Man? There doesn't seem to be any. He's just Spider-Man. So I think Marvel are going to move in that way, where they're going to have established characters for certain characters when they introduce them, and they are going to put away some of the origin stories for certain characters unless it fits the narrative of being a little bit soft, a little bit diluted for the audience to receive. I'm going to leave the video there. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that Keanu Reeves is a perfect choice for Moon Knight or Johnny Blaze? Vote down below. Let me know what you think. Do you think Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider, or do you think Moon Knight? Let me know what you think down below. Would you like to see Keanu as a different character? He has mentioned Wolverine in the past. Would you like to see him as Wolverine? Or do you think maybe this is the point in time where Marvel needs to go a little bit harder and it needs to show people, look, we're going to go to a more serious side of things. They have the X-Men there now waiting, ready to go. They have Deadpool, it was available, ready to go. I think that they could have a very nice Marvel Knights version of the universe. They have Punisher there as well too now, ready to go. Daredevil's ready to go there too. I think that these characters, if you join them together, could be their own unique thing, and you could age them up a little bit for an older audience that have now grown with the Marvel movies and are going to buy into those type of things. Basic capitalism, basic being a company. Let me know if you think that's the way Marvel might be moving forward, or have you seen recent comments and recent interviews being done surrounding Eternals and some of the woke aspects that Marvel seem to be going down? If they go down that road, I think kiss phase 4 and beyond goodbye, because a lot of fans will just see it, they will smell it, they will know it, and they will walk. Very interesting to see what happens from here. I endorse Keanu Reeves as Johnny Blaze personally, and I think he would be a very good Moon Knight, in fairness. Gonna leave the video there. Good luck.